What if the first 10 minutes of your morning could completely rewire your mind? What if you could build unshakable discipline, inner peace, and mental clarity before the rest of the world even opens its eyes? Most people wake up and immediately surrender, scrolling, reacting, rushing. But the Stoics, they did the opposite. They took control before the day could take it from them. And now, you're going to learn how to do the same. In this video, I'll share 13 powerful Stoic habits you can practice every morning to transform not just your routine, but your entire life. These aren't fluffy tips. They're ancient tools forged in hardship, tested by emperors, philosophers, and warriors. And they still work, if you're willing to apply them. If you're ready to stop living on autopilot and start living with purpose, this is where it begins. Let's dive into the first habit that will reshape your mind from the moment you open your eyes. Habit 1. Wake with intention, not reaction. How do you start your morning? For most people, it begins with a phone screen, notifications, emails, social media. In just seconds, their mind is already pulled into chaos. Stoicism teaches us to begin each day not with noise but with purpose. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive." This isn't just a poetic thought, it's a command to be mindful from the very first moment. When you wake up, resist the temptation to check your phone. Instead, take a deep breath. Before you even leave your bed, reflect on what kind of person you want to be today. Ask yourself, will I let the world dictate my mood, or will I guide it with wisdom and calm? A powerful technique is to mentally rehearse your day. The Stoics called this premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of adversity. Think of what challenges may arise, not with fear, but with readiness. Maybe you'll face rude people, delays, setbacks. Imagine them. Then imagine responding like a Stoic, with patience, with control, with clarity. Now consider this. Your morning is your mental battlefield. If you don't train your mind first, the world will train it for you. And the world doesn't always have your best interest in mind. When you practice morning intention, you're not just planning your day, you're aligning it with your values. As Epictetus said, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Your morning ritual is the saying to yourself part. It's when you define the kind of soul you're cultivating. A calm soul, a strong soul, a resilient soul. This habit doesn't take hours, it takes 5 minutes. 5 minutes of silence, 5 minutes of gratitude, 5 minutes of mental preparation. But the return? It rewires your mind for strength, for peace, for power. So before you touch a screen, touch your soul. Reconnect with what matters. Start each day not as a prisoner to your notifications, but as a master of your mind. That's what Stoicism demands. That's what your highest self deserves. Habit 2. Practice negative visualization. What if today didn't go the way you planned? What if you lost your job, your phone, your health? These questions might sound negative, but to the Stoics, they were essential. The practice of negative visualization, or premeditatio malorum, wasn't about being pessimistic. It was about building mental armor. Seneca said, "He robs present ills of their power who has perceived their coming beforehand." This means we suffer less when we're mentally prepared. Instead of waking up and assuming everything will go perfectly, the Stoic mind rehearses potential setbacks. Not obsessively, but wisely, calmly, with intention. In your morning routine, take 2 to 3 minutes to imagine something being taken from you. Maybe your car doesn't start. Maybe someone offends you. Maybe an important task fails. Imagine it happening, not with fear, but with composure. Then picture your response, staying calm, adjusting, accepting what's out of your control. This habit isn't about inviting tragedy. It's about rehearsing virtue. It's about saying, if that happens, I am prepared. I won't panic. I won't crumble. I will remain steady. Modern science supports this. Studies on resilience show that people who mentally rehearse challenges perform better under stress. They are less reactive, more adaptive, more in control, just like the Stoics. And there's another powerful benefit. When you visualize loss, even briefly, it increases gratitude. If you imagine losing your sight for just a moment, you open your eyes with appreciation. If you imagine not having food, you taste breakfast differently. Negative visualization makes you aware of the invisible blessings you normally overlook. Gratitude isn't automatic, it's trained. And Stoics trained it by facing the worst, so they could cherish the present. So tomorrow morning when you sit in silence, ask yourself, what if I lost this? This job, this body, this opportunity? How would I respond? Can I be content even then? Can I still live with purpose? That simple reflection rewires your emotional system. It makes you calmer, stronger. It also softens the ego. Because when you realize everything is temporary, you stop clinging. You start living. Epictetus reminded us, it is not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them. Negative visualization shapes those opinions, and in doing so, it gives you peace, no matter what comes. Habit 3. Journal with radical honesty. Before the chaos of the world begins, take a moment to face yourself, not your public self, not the version you show others, but your true self, raw, unfiltered, honest. This is where Stoic journaling begins. Marcus Aurelius did it daily. His meditations were never meant for publication. They were his way of sorting through his thoughts, fears, hopes, and failures. His way of anchoring his mind before ruling an empire. If a Roman emperor could make time to reflect every morning, so can you. Stoic journaling isn't about writing poetry, it's about awareness. You ask yourself simple but profound questions. What did I do yesterday that I regret? Where did I react instead of respond? What virtue do I want to practice today? Patience, courage, humility. These questions strip away the ego and reveal your inner world. Seneca said, each day we should call ourselves to account. This means journaling is not a chore. It's a tool. It helps you identify patterns. Are you complaining too much? Judging others? Procrastinating? Journaling makes these habits visible, and only when they are visible can they be changed. But there's another side. Journaling isn't just about flaws. It's also about victories. Maybe yesterday you didn't lose your temper. Maybe you showed kindness when it wasn't easy. Write that down. Acknowledge progress, build momentum. When your mind sees evidence of growth, it becomes more confident, more disciplined. There's power in putting pen to paper. It forces your swirling thoughts into form. It slows you down. It makes you think. That's why every Stoic journaled. Not because life was easy, but because reflection made them strong enough to handle it. In the morning, you don't need pages, even 5 minutes is enough. A small notebook, a few lines. Ask, what am I feeling? What am I avoiding? What matters today? This small ritual rewires your mind for clarity, for self-command, for humility. We live in a noisy world, but your journal is your fortress of quiet. No likes, no filters, just you, your mind, and the truth. And the truth, when faced consistently, transforms. So before you open your emails, open your journal, meet yourself on the page, and like Marcus Aurelius, use that space to sharpen your soul. Habit 4. Delay comfort to build discipline. The modern world trains us to seek comfort first. Warm showers, soft beds, phone scrolling, sugar-filled breakfasts. But Stoicism teaches the opposite. Seek strength first, and strength is built by delaying comfort. Epictetus, once a slave, taught that freedom isn't doing whatever you want. True freedom is self-control. It's the ability to say no to comfort when comfort weakens you. In the morning, this might mean resisting the snooze button, or taking a cold shower, or skipping the sugar-heavy breakfast. These aren't punishments, they're practices. Practices that sharpen your will. Why does this matter? Because every act of self-denial strengthens your discipline muscle. Every time you delay gratification, you prove to your mind that you are in control, not your cravings, not your habits, not your mood. Seneca wrote, "Set aside now and then a number of days during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress." Why? Not to suffer, but to train, to remind yourself, I can endure discomfort. I am not its servant. Modern science calls this voluntary discomfort. It improves mental resilience. In a world full of convenience, even small acts of hardship become powerful. Take the stairs. Fast for a few hours. Do 10 push-ups before breakfast. These little moments train your brain to stop expecting ease. And when life gets hard, you'll be ready, because you've practiced discomfort on your own terms. Morning is the best time to begin this. Why? Because it sets the tone. If the first thing you do is overcome something uncomfortable, your brain starts the day knowing you are not here to coast, you're here to lead. That carries through your decisions, your attitude, your discipline all day long. This doesn't mean becoming rigid or robotic, it means choosing what strengthens you. And often, what strengthens you isn't what feels good, it's what builds character. Try this tomorrow. Wake up and do one thing that feels slightly hard. It could be silence instead of music, water instead of coffee, a cold shower instead of a warm one. Watch how your mind reacts. Watch how your body wants comfort. Then calmly say, "Not today." That moment, that's where mastery begins. Habit 5. Read a passage of Stoic wisdom. Every morning is a chance to reset your mind, to redirect your thoughts before the world fills them with noise. One of the most powerful ways to do that is by reading a short passage of Stoic wisdom. A few sentences, a single idea, something that cuts through the clutter and recenters your soul. Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus. Their words have survived for centuries because they speak directly to the human condition. They didn't write for fame. They wrote to survive chaos, to remember what truly matters. And when you read their words each morning, you're not just learning philosophy, you're absorbing strength. Start small. Keep a Stoic book by your bed or in your bag. In the quiet of the morning, read one passage, just one. Then pause. Don't rush. Reflect. Ask yourself, what does this mean to me? Where in my life do I need this right now? Let's say you read Marcus Aurelius. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That's not just a quote. That's a map. That's a compass pointing you back to your center, especially when life feels overwhelming. Seneca reminds us, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. So when you're anxious, afraid, or angry, a passage like that can pull you back. It can shift your entire emotional state in less than a minute. Think of Stoic reading as fuel, not entertainment. Fuel for your clarity, fuel for your patience, fuel for your resilience. And the more consistently you do it, the stronger that inner fire becomes. You don't have to read a whole chapter, in fact, shorter is better. Let the idea sink deep. Let it become part of your mental operating system. Over time, these tiny seeds of wisdom grow into a way of thinking, a way of seeing, a way of being. And don't just read it, live it. Carry the words into your actions, into your conversations, into your work. The goal isn't to collect quotes, the goal is to embody them. This habit rewires your mind by repetition, by reflection, by realignment. Each morning, just one thought, one Stoic truth, can help you walk the day with strength, with serenity, and with soul. Habit 6. Recite your core values aloud. In a world of distraction, temptation, and noise, most people forget who they are before the day even begins. But the Stoic is different. The Stoic anchors their identity not in how the world treats them, but in the values they choose to live by. That's why reciting your core values every morning is one of the most transformative habits you can adopt. Think about this. If you don't remind yourself of your principles, the world will impose its own. You'll be pulled into gossip, anger, envy, laziness. Not because you're weak, but because you're unguarded. Core values are your armor. They are your compass. They are your truth when the world is full of lies. And reciting them aloud in the morning gives your mind a clear direction. It tells your subconscious, this is who I am. This is how I move through the world. What are your values? Maybe it's courage, discipline, kindness, humility, justice, patience. You don't need 10, start with 3. Write them down. And each morning, say them out loud with intention. For example, I am disciplined. I do what is necessary, not what is easy. I am kind. I treat others with dignity even when I'm under pressure. I am resilient. I bend, but I do not break. These aren't just words. They're declarations. They shape how you act, how you think, how you respond. They become your inner code, your personal logos, your guiding reason. Epictetus said, know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly. That means you decide first, what do I stand for? And then you act like it, speak like it, live like it, every single day. By repeating your values aloud, you create identity-based discipline. You don't just try to act stoic, you become stoic. It becomes natural to respond with wisdom, not emotion, to lead with strength, not pride. This habit takes less than 1 minute, but over time, it rewires your inner world. It gives you something unshakable when everything else feels uncertain. So tomorrow morning, before you dive into your to-do list, pause, breathe, and speak your truth, loudly, clearly, like a warrior preparing for battle. Because in this life, the greatest victory is to live by your values, consistently, fiercely, and with full awareness. Habit 7. Do something physically challenging first. The Stoics knew something modern society forgets. The body is the gateway to the mind. If you want mental clarity, emotional stability, and spiritual strength, you must start with the physical. That's why doing something physically challenging in the morning is not just a health habit, it's a Stoic ritual. You don't need to run a marathon. You don't need a fancy gym. All you need is resistance. Resistance to comfort, resistance to stillness, resistance to the urge to delay, because that resistance is your training ground. It's where the real transformation happens. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You must build up your life action by action, and be content if each one achieves its goal as far as possible." When you push your body first thing in the morning, whether it's push-ups, a walk, cold water, or 10 minutes of stretching, you're not just moving your muscles, you're mastering your impulses. It's easy to wait until later, but later is a trap. Later is where intentions go to die. The Stoic knows that discipline begins now, in this moment, in this body. When you choose to move, especially when you don't feel like it, you send a powerful message to your mind. I'm not here for comfort, I'm here for growth. That shift affects everything, your mood, your focus, your decisions. One act of strength ripples through the entire day. There's also humility in physical exertion. It reminds you that you're human, that your body has limits, and that true freedom comes not from avoiding those limits, but from meeting them with respect and effort. Seneca said, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." Every morning, physical challenge is a small, controlled form of adversity. You prove yourself, you test your will. You grow stronger, not just in body, but in spirit. Even 5 minutes of movement changes your internal state. It releases stress, it boosts energy, it grounds you in the present, and most importantly, it cultivates that deep, quiet confidence that Stoicism is built on. So tomorrow morning, don't wait for motivation. Create momentum. Do something hard, something that demands effort. That effort will echo into every area of your life, and you'll face the world not from a place of weakness, but from earned strength. Habit 8. Reflect on death to sharpen gratitude. It may sound morbid at first to think about death each morning, but for the Stoics, this practice, memento mori, remember you must die, was not about fear. It was about clarity, about urgency, about truly living. Seneca said, "Let us prepare our minds as if we'd come to the very end of life. Let us postpone nothing. Let us balance life's books each day. Why? Because nothing brings life into sharper focus than remembering that it ends. When you wake up and say to yourself, "I may not live to see tonight," you don't become afraid. You become awake, fully awake, to the beauty of the present moment, to the triviality of your complaints, to the gift of being alive at all. The habit of reflecting on death each morning rewires your mind to stop wasting time, to stop sleepwalking through routines. You begin to see that every moment is either lived with presence or lost forever. This is not a negative thought, it's liberation. Because when you accept that death is not a distant idea but an ever-present possibility, you begin to act differently. You say what matters. You drop grudges. You cherish loved ones. You appreciate your breath, your sight, your coffee, your walk, your quiet. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." These are not words of gloom. They are a call to live without delay, to live with excellence, with truth, with purpose. Each morning, take 1 minute, sit quietly, say to yourself, "Today could be my last. How do I want to show up?" You'll find your heart softens, your focus sharpens, and your gratitude expands. This mindset also protects you from petty stress. When you've stared at the reality of death, a rude email or a late train no longer holds power over you. You see through it. You rise above it. Reflecting on death doesn't make you darker, it makes you lighter. You release control, you release illusion, you return to what matters, living well, loving deeply, and leaving nothing unsaid. That is the power of memento mori. It's not about dying. It's about learning how to live, fully, fiercely, and without regrets. Habit 9. Practice voluntary stillness. In a world obsessed with speed, stillness is rebellion. But it's the kind of rebellion the Stoics championed. They understood that the mind cannot be free if it's always in motion. That true strength isn't just about action. It's about deliberate inaction, the ability to be still. Seneca wrote, "To be everywhere is to be nowhere." Think about that. How often do our mornings begin with rushing, multitasking, worrying about 10 things at once? The Stoic chooses another path, the path of presence, the path of silence, the path of stillness. This doesn't mean doing nothing, it means doing less and doing it consciously. It means sitting with your thoughts without reaching for a distraction. It means allowing the mind to settle, like muddy water becoming clear with time. Stillness is the space where clarity is born. When you sit in silence, even for 5 minutes, you begin to hear your own thoughts. You observe your inner dialogue. You witness your emotional weather. And in that witnessing, you become the master instead of the puppet. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." But you must enter that retreat. You must choose that stillness. And the best time to do it is in the morning, before the noise of the world demands your attention. Try this. Sit comfortably. Close your eyes. Breathe slowly. Focus on nothing but the breath. When thoughts come, let them pass. No judgment, no resistance, just awareness. You don't need to achieve anything, you just need to be. This simple practice, repeated daily, begins to rewire the nervous system. It lowers stress, it increases mental resilience. But more than that, it aligns you with the essence of Stoic wisdom, that peace is internal, that freedom is in your response, not in your circumstances. In stillness, you realize what really matters. You reconnect with your principles. You exit the chaos of others' expectations and return to your own center. Stillness is where Stoic power begins, because only in stillness can you observe your impulses, and only by observing them can you choose differently. So each morning, before the world pulls you in 10 directions, give yourself the gift of quiet. Don't just do, be. And from that being, let wise action naturally arise. Habit 10. Review the virtues you want to embody today. Stoicism is not a theory to be memorized. It's a way of life to be practiced. And at the center of that life are the virtues: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. These aren't just ancient words, they are timeless tools. And every morning the Stoic reviews them, not as an idea but as a commitment. Marcus Aurelius didn't ask himself what he wanted to achieve. He asked who he wanted to be. That's a fundamental shift, because when you focus on being, doing follows naturally. When you decide, today I will be just, you act fairly. When you decide, today I will be courageous, you speak the truth, even if it's uncomfortable. Start your morning by reflecting on the virtues, not all of them at once. Choose one. Focus on it. Ask yourself, what does it look like to live with this virtue today? If you choose temperance, maybe that means not overindulging in food or distractions. If you choose courage, maybe that means having a difficult conversation you've been avoiding. Seneca said, "Virtue is nothing else than right reason." That means it's not about being perfect. It's about aligning your actions with what you know is right. And this requires intention, every single day. When you begin the morning by choosing a virtue to embody, you frame your day around character, not circumstances. No matter what happens, you know how you'll show up, with calm, with strength, with integrity. You can also anticipate obstacles through this lens. Ask, where might I be tested today? Maybe it's in traffic, maybe it's at work, maybe it's with a family member. Whatever it is, picture the challenge, then visualize the virtue guiding your response. Over time, this habit transforms your automatic reactions. You become less reactive and more reflective. You don't just survive situations, you grow through them. And remember, Stoicism is a personal journey. No one can practice the virtues for you. But when you begin your day grounded in them, you carry an inner compass that nothing external can shake. So tomorrow morning, before the emails, before the noise, ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be today? Then choose a virtue. Name it, define it, and live it. Because in the end, it's not what you achieve that defines your life, but who you become in the process. Habit 11. Remind yourself what you can and cannot control. If there's one Stoic principle that transforms everything, it's this: control what you can, accept what you can't. Simple in words, life-changing in practice. And your morning is the perfect time to remind yourself of this truth, before the outside world tries to convince you otherwise. Epictetus taught, some things are up to us and some things are not. He believed that freedom begins when we separate these two categories. Our actions, our words, our thoughts, these are within our control. Other people's opinions, the weather, the economy, even outcomes, these are not. Every morning, remind yourself, today, many things will not go my way. That's okay, because I will focus only on what is mine to master. My mindset, my response, my character. This doesn't make you passive, it makes you powerful. Because when you stop wasting energy on what you cannot change, you have more strength for what you can. Think of how often stress comes from trying to force outcomes. You want someone to like you. You want everything to run on time. You want life to obey your plan. But Stoicism teaches you to release that grip, to show up fully, give your best, and then let go of the result. In the morning, take 1 minute to review your plans for the day. Ask, what parts of this do I actually control? If you're giving a presentation, you can control your preparation, but not people's reactions. If you're applying for a job, you can control your effort, but not the decision. When you separate these, peace enters. This habit rewires your mind by creating emotional boundaries. It stops you from blaming others. It ends the illusion of control. It humbles you and empowers you at the same time. Marcus Aurelius faced war, plague, betrayal. But in his journal, he constantly returned to this truth. You have power over your mind, not outside events. That one sentence can carry you through storms, through uncertainty, through failure. So when you wake up tomorrow, say to yourself, I will do my part with excellence and virtue. What happens next is not mine to hold. In that release, you find strength, you find clarity, you find the soul of Stoicism. Habit 12. Serve someone before serving yourself. The ego wakes up first. It wants comfort, coffee, attention, success. But Stoicism teaches that life isn't just about the self, it's about service. And one of the most powerful ways to rewire your mind each morning is to ask, how can I serve someone else before I serve myself? This doesn't mean you ignore your needs. It means you anchor your purpose in something bigger. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, when you wake up in the morning, remember, you were born to serve. Not as a slave, but as a citizen of the world, a contributor, a soul with duties. Modern life pushes individualism. What do I want today? But the Stoic shifts the question. Who needs me today? That shift breaks the spell of selfishness and opens the door to fulfillment. Service can be simple. A kind message to someone struggling, making breakfast for your child or partner, sending gratitude to a team member, helping a stranger without expecting praise. These moments don't take much time, but they transform your mindset. When you serve first, you dissolve ego. You train humility. You remember that your life is part of a larger whole. And when you connect to others with intention, your own burdens become lighter. Because service reminds you you have value, you have strength, you can contribute. Seneca wrote, "Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness. Each morning brings that opportunity, and when you take it, your day becomes meaningful, not because of what you achieve, but because of who you lifted." This habit also guards you against resentment. When you begin the day focused on giving rather than receiving, you're less likely to be offended, less likely to be disappointed. You don't expect the world to owe you anything. You're here to offer what you can. Service is not weakness, it's leadership, it's choosing to go beyond the self. And in that choice, you grow stronger, wiser, fuller. So tomorrow, before you open your planner, open your heart. Who can you help today? What small act can you offer that brings light, relief, or encouragement? Then do it, not for recognition, but for alignment with virtue. Because the Stoic life isn't just about self-mastery, it's about selfless action, rooted in wisdom, grounded in love. Habit 13. Begin with gratitude no matter what. Gratitude is not a soft emotion. It is not reserved for easy days or perfect circumstances. For the Stoic, gratitude is a weapon, a shield against despair, bitterness, and entitlement. That's why each morning, no matter how you feel, you begin with gratitude. Marcus Aurelius said, "When you arise in the morning, give thanks for the privilege of being alive, of breathing, of thinking, of loving." This is not a motivational slogan. It's a survival tool. Because if you cannot be grateful now, when things are ordinary, how will you be grateful when life becomes difficult? Stoic gratitude is different from modern gratitude. It's not about making a list of everything that's going well. It's about appreciating life as it is. Even the parts that are hard, even the moments that test you, it's saying, "I'm grateful for this challenge because it's teaching me patience. I'm grateful for this obstacle because it's sharpening my character. I'm grateful for this breath because it means I have another chance." Gratitude shifts your focus. It brings your attention away from what's missing and centers it on what's present. Your feet on the ground, your mind awake, your heart still beating. All of it is a gift, and the Stoic sees it clearly. Seneca reminded us, "Nothing is more honorable than a grateful heart." Why? Because gratitude dissolves entitlement. It creates humility. It grounds you in reality. It also makes you resilient, because the grateful person doesn't need perfect conditions to stay strong. They can find meaning in any situation. Make this a habit before you check your phone, before you speak, before you begin anything. Pause, close your eyes, take a breath. Say, "Thank you," out loud or in silence. Thank you for the chance to try again. Thank you for the opportunity to grow. Thank you for another sunrise. This is not denial of pain. It is power over it. The Stoic doesn't ignore their problems. They simply choose not to be defined by them. And gratitude is the mindset that makes that choice possible. End your morning ritual here, with awareness, with humility, with thankfulness. Because once you've begun your day in gratitude, everything else becomes a bonus, not a burden. That's how you rewire your mind. That's how you transform your mornings. That's how you walk the Stoic path. You don't need a new year. You don't need perfect motivation. You don't even need more time. What you need is intention. What you need is repetition. And most of all, what you need is alignment between your actions and your values. These 13 habits aren't just morning routines, they're mental blueprints, inner training sessions. They remind you every single day of who you are and who you are becoming. Will every day go perfectly? Number. But the Stoic doesn't aim for perfection. The Stoic aims for progress, for presence, for power over the one thing that truly belongs to us, our own mind. If you've made it this far, you're serious about growth. You're not just a listener, you're a practitioner. So now, choose one of these 13 habits, just one, and make it part of your mornings starting tomorrow. Watch how it shifts your thoughts, your mood, your choices, your life. If this video helped you take one step closer to mastery, subscribe to Stoic Mastery. Here, we're not chasing trends, we're building timeless strength. One habit, one lesson, one day at a time. Let me know in the comments. Which of these habits are you going to implement first? Which one challenged your thinking the most? Then remember, you already have what it takes to master your mind. You just need to wake it up each morning. Until next time, stay disciplined, stay present, and walk the path of the Stoic.